Vote just this time. You won't have to vote anymore. It'll be fixed. It'll be fine.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
The words of the disgraced former president, Donald Trump, whom so many of us have been telling you for the last 7 or 8 years that this guy is a threat to democracy. Please listen. Please take seriously the threat. This is fascism. This is treasonous. He is dangerous. And he's not the first despot in history to do this to an otherwise free country. He is one of many. And when people talk about that he's like Hitler, or he's like Mussolini, or he's like Stalin, and people don't take it seriously, read your history. Because they all started out being populists too. And then the truth slips. Because Donald Trump is on the ropes. He is scared. He is desperate. As Joe Biden steps aside and Kamala Harris takes his place as the presidential candidate, Donald Trump realizes that he is not a guaranteed win for this November election, and he is panicking. And when somebody like him panics, somebody who is mentally ill, who has a personality disorder, who is, has an ego the size of a planet, he will start to disrespect his own people. The stuff that he really thinks will start to come out because he's been managing himself, tempering himself. Occasionally he lets it slip. Like the time a few weeks ago when he says, I don't care about you, I just need your votes.
Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care.
That's who Donald Trump really is. And we've been telling you for years, he doesn't care about the MAGA Republican base. The people that buy the hats and the shirts and have the flags, he doesn't care. He's in it for himself. And now, because of his multiple felonies, he's in it to protect himself from prison. And if you heard him talking, having a meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu, he doesn't consider the fact that, there are controversies there about how Netanyahu has managed the situation in Gaza. Trump is just all in for Netanyahu and is now threatening that if you don't vote for him, there is the potential for World War III. Think about that. Just think about it.
If we win, it'll be very simple. It's all going to work out and very quickly. If we don't, you're going to end up with major wars in the Middle East and maybe a third world war. You are closer to a third world war right now than at any time since the Second World War. You've never been so close because we have incompetent people running our country.
He doesn't know anything about the details, doesn't know anything about the concept of diplomacy. He's effectively now working a shadow organization or a shadow administration outside of the United States. I'm sure that Antony Blinken would love to know what Donald Trump is discussing because Trump himself is not aligned with American politics. He takes his advice from his friends and from America's enemies. And famously at Helsinki, he said, "Why should I take the advice of the American security services when I've asked Vladimir Putin if he meddled in our elections?" And he said no.
My people came to me, Dan Coates came to me, and some others. They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be. I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today.
That is what's at stake. Trump is aligned with all of the nations that America sees as unfriendly. That is all you need to know. And now he's coming out and saying that he will fix the election in the same way that Vladimir Putin fixes his elections and gives people the impression that they're getting a vote when they're not. And that's why he has installed himself for 23 consistent years, leading Russia That's what Trump wants for the United States. He wants to be a dictator for eternity. Doesn't think about his own health or mortality. He genuinely thinks that he can cheat nature. He thinks he dodged a bullet through his own moves. He thinks that by turning his head, he dodged the bullet. Doesn't understand the concept of luck or coincidence. He just wants to take the credit for it. That is who Donald Trump is. He thinks that he is superhuman, when in fact he is subhuman. He is inhumane. He lacks empathy, and he cares nothing for the institutions or the democracy of the United States. So now the gloves are off. Now he's going to start saying stuff, if he hasn't already, that is far more truthful as to who he really is. He's a racist. He's a misogynist. He's a bigot. And when the language about Kamala Harris now really becomes as explicit as I expect it to be between now and the election, he'll refer to her race, he'll refer to her gender, he'll refer to her laugh, he'll refer to her ability to do the job in the most disgraceful language. He doesn't care. The uncivilized nature of Donald Trump is such that he has never, his whole life, faced any consequences for anything he's done. Which is why, when he is held to account by the judiciary, he just presumes that it's a hit job from Joe Biden. He has no respect for the rule of law or for the institutions that keep America safe. So this is just a warning. I've given many warnings over the years, and you've heard it from multiple people. But, now that Trump is so nervous, now that Trump is slipping, now that the polls are starting to say something very different to what he's been propagating, we're going to see the real Donald Trump. And with his choice of vice president, J.D. Vance being an unmitigated disaster as a partner in crime, we're going to see a Donald Trump and a J.D. Vance that nobody wants to vote for. Nobody. Because anybody outside the cult of Trump, anybody outside that deep MAGA base that are so far up the rabbit hole that there's no hope for those people, everybody else is going to recognize that America is one of the greatest countries in the world. It has the potential to be the greatest country in the world. But we need leadership. We need kindness. We need respect. We need somebody who is going to lead America, not criticize it. And Kamala Harris has risen to the occasion. I'm Anthony Davis. You can catch me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.